I was surprised by how many people were interested in this. And it's really exciting. It means that we all want to go on some adventures for 2023. Okay, so here's my screen, and we're going to jump into what we're doing today. 1, 2. This is about me. If you don't know who I am, this is who I am. Everybody at the end of today will get a PowerPoint PDF of all of the things in here. So don't feel like you have to frantically remember everything. This is kind of an outline. So if you do want to take notes today on some of the discussions or ideas or topics that we cover, feel free to do so. But you don't have to read this. It's about me, and it gives you a little bit more about why I'm doing this presentation today. Roam Your Soul is, here's how you stay in touch with us. You can follow us on the socials. You can email me, or you can head to our website and see what else we have going on for the rest of the year. We have lots of events and activities happening this year. It's a pretty busy year for us, which is pretty exciting. And we have lots of women showing up, and men too now. So we have lots of people showing up for some of these events that we're doing. Some are specific to who you are, but you know what I mean. Okay, so you're here because you want me to show me your pack. You're here because you're really interested in learning a little bit more about this, like I said, this preparedness, safety, supplies, and what pack to use for what. So that's why you're here. If you're not here for that, you're in the wrong room. Head over somewhere else, but I'm glad you're here otherwise. All right. First and foremost, I want to ask, how is your day going? This was mine. It's been dumping snow here in Colorado. We're up at 9,318 feet in the air. And so we are just getting this, we got 2 storm systems coming through. We're, I think, at 30 inches of snow right now. And it's still coming down. So this was my morning and afternoon. How's your day going? And can you tell me, just in the chat, you can throw in the chat, what do you hope to gain from today? What made you sign up for this today? What made you really want to come here and gain some new knowledge? Can you just throw in the chat so I have an idea? Why are you here? What are you hoping to gain today? Thank you. Yeah, planning to backpack this summer. I want to know what we can learn. And sometimes there's so much information on the interwebs and so many opinions and whatnot that it can get a little overwhelming. So glad you're here today. So here, let me know, guys. It's really helpful for me so that I can know, like, where should we go with this? We have a few breakouts that we're going to do where you're going to get to talk to each other. There's a bunch of stuff that I'll be sharing with you as well. But really, it helps me know what to talk about and what not to talk about of why you're here today. Want to learn what to pack for a trip? Yes. Planning to backpack soon for the first time? Yeah. Yes. Okay. So here's our flow for the day. We're going to do some sharing of some expertise and some opinions. We're going to talk about different packs and different packs for different snacks. I love snacks, and so I just thought it was funny. But really, it's like you have different packs for different reasons. There's different functionalities. So which pack for what, right? And then we're going to talk about the 10 essentials, which are really the 10 essentials that you should always be carrying with you when you're out on a hike or out in the wilderness. I tend to always bring a pack with me. It just has become it's become a safety habit to, even if I'm just taking the dogs out to the river and doing a river walk that I do all the time, I still bring a pack. So, and the 10 essentials are always in there. And then we're going to talk about know before you go. And then we're going to do some more sharing expertise and opinions. So that is the flow of today. Okay, planning longer trips and wanting to know what to pack. Man, there's just so many choices. That's the thing, right? Okay, this brings me to my next slide, right? There are so many options and choices for so many things, and there's so much information out in the world and on the internet, and so many people can tell you all these different things from their own experiences and their own expertise. But I'm going to say this, as my dad always says, opinions are like a-holes, right? Everybody's got one and they all stink. Kidding. But it's true. Like, you got to be careful in taking opinions. So for me, I've been hiking, camping, backpacking, doing wilderness exploration, all sorts of stuff my whole life. I've had, different, trainings and safety workshops I've done over the years. There's a lot of things I've done, but I am not an expert. The experts in the world are truly like top notch, will teach you a lot. I'm going to give you some information and some knowledge that I have, and we're going to share information and knowledge here. But what I want you to remember in this workshop today is that we all are going to have opinions. We all have experiences. We all have preferences. And so we're going to share those, and you're going to take away what works for you, right? So you're going to make sure that you're going to take in all of this and then go, what would work for me? And a lot of times as you get into backpacking and you get into hiking and you get into wilderness exploration, you start learning what works for you and what does not work for you. A great example of that is I actually pulled out a bunch of dry sacks, and I don't like these two. The one I like is sitting over here that I'm going to show you in a little bit. But my husband loves this one. I don't like it. Nobody likes this one, but this one's really good for a river because it's super waterproof, but everything like sticks and it's just too long. So you're going to learn over time what you like and what you don't like. And the truth of it is you're going to buy gear, rent gear, borrow gear, use gear, get rid of gear. It just over time, you're going to figure out what works for you. Same with bags. I'll show you really quickly. I have bags. I have lots of bags, and these are just my day packs, right? I also have larger bags for multi-day trips, but I actually left them in the other room now that I think about it. It's okay, but I have some larger ones I have 3 different size larger ones, and as you saw, I have about 3 or 4 different size smaller ones. So these 2 pictures were put here on purpose in the sense that, finding the pack that fits your body and then figuring out what you want to put inside that works for you and how you experience the outdoors. It's just it takes a little bit of time, but you can be smart about it. And that's what we're trying to help you with today, is that we want to try to help you be smart about playing around with it, practicing, and learning what works for you. There we go. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, excuse me, is I'm going to show you some of the packs that I have here for like the lighter hiking. I'm going to put you into breakout rooms, and then I'm actually going to run and get the bigger packs so you can see those too. But you see I'm scrunched in here because I'm supposed to be standing up and sitting down. But so I'm going to throw you into a breakout room because I want you to talk about, what do you have? What do you use? What are you looking at? What are the things that you've been researching, or what's your tried and true, and just kind of help each other out and share some information in this. It's going to be a 3-minute, just a quick 3-minute breakout to just show your friends your pack. All right, so I'm going to show you, I have this little guy that I really love. Sometimes I'll just take this one down to the river, right? But it has a little water bottle holder, has a little spot, and then also it has the wicking stuff on the back. So I use this one a lot for just, like a couple hours out, sometimes maybe an hour. This Camelback I have used for, man, this is like a 20-year-old Camelback. If somebody's on the line that works for Camelback, you could tell me, but it's been well used. And I originally bought it for mountain biking, and then I just was using it all the time for everything. And so it has a water system spot in the back, and you can unzip it, put your water system in there. This one has been mostly retired at this point because, one, new packs have a lot of new technology advancement and pockets and zippers and cool stuff. And so this one just kind of became outdated. So the one I'm using a lot, and the one that I have been loving, is this Gregory pack. I am not sponsored. This is not a marketing ploy. This pack just came into my life, and It's a good size for an overnight. It's a good size for a 6 to 8 hour hike. It's a good size by myself. It's a good hike for a couple hours. And again, this is a pack I take down to the river with my dogs a bunch, and I just and this one also has a water system. I also like this one because the water system zip is in the front, not in the back. That Camelback one, the zip's in the back. I don't like it. So it has a water system thing here. Has only like pockets and doodads. I also like that it has the pockets on the hips. Some people hate that, but I really like the pockets on the hips, and so I can put my phone in there, chapstick in there, sunblock in there, whatever. So anyway, this is my go-to pack right now. But it's not, it hasn't always been my go-to pack, but it is right now. So that's mine. All right. So I'm going to throw you into some breakout groups. It looks like we have about 10 people in here. So I'm just going to do maybe three people, and we're going to give you a few minutes. All right. So just going to throw you that way. And oops, I hit the wrong button. Here we go. Takes just a second and it'll go.
Hello? Hello?
Hi, Sharon.
Hi, now I can hear. Just now,
Oh,
I couldn't hear in the breakout room. There's another person. Can you hear me? Oh, now, can you hear me? But I still cannot hear Leighton.
can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Cool. Man, I did those breakout rooms and everybody dropped like flies. So nobody wanted to do that.
Christine, can you hear Leighton?
Oh, my screen stopped presenting. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I cannot hear Leighton either.
Yeah,
But
that's weird.
can you hear me?
Oh, maybe because the breakout rooms are still happening? I don't know. Oh, cancel.
I can hear Christine, but I can't hear Leighton there.
All right. Tap. Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure either. That's super weird. I've never had that happen before. But you guys can hear me. I just can't hear you. Is that correct?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can't hear anybody. That's so weird. Maybe there? Did that fix it?
I can hear you all the time, but can you hear me?
I hear you.
Oh, now I can hear Joyce.
Yeah, no, you don't have to have your mic and camera on at all. It's just weird that I can't hear you.
I hear you, Christy.
Usually this could be a give and take situation, but it looks like I can't hear you guys, which I think is so weird. And I'm wondering if it's like a presenter thing. But anyway, we'll just keep it on if you guys can. If you can hear me, that's the important piece, I suppose, so that you can kind of see what's going on. And we'll just keep talking through some of this. All right. And we'll just have to do a little chatty chat otherwise. And that's what I'm wondering is like a presentation audio. Anyway, all right, here we go. All right, so I did run into the other room and grab my other packs. And I want to show you because there's a huge difference between a day pack, like an hour-ish pack, right? And then these are the big guys, right? Like these are the ones that I take on multi-day hikes. And so this one, I hiked El Camino in Spain. And ironically, I liked this one and I chose to hike with this one, even though, and this is a Patagonia bag, even though I had this like super bougie Arc'teryx bag, which I really love for backcountry skiing, going up and kind of doing like longer day ski hike kind of situations. But this bag doesn't sit on my, it sits a little bit on my hips and it doesn't sit quite high enough up on my back. So it doesn't work for long days of hiking. And so I knew that about this pack. And I love this pack, but it wouldn't have worked for the El Camino or for El Camino. This bag is older and it is not as functional, but it was so comfortable. You can see it's a little bit skinnier, right? And it has a little bit smaller hip straps. So they were a little bit skinnier hip straps. This bag was just so comfortable to hike in that, and there were a few days where I did 10 or 12-hour days. So, you know, this pack was a lifesaver in that sense. And so when you're going and trying to get a new pack, day packs, this isn't as important in, but it is important, like get fitted and know how the pack is supposed to sit on you. So like when I put this pack on and oops, it's hooked. When I put this pack on and like the arm straps are pretty tight. And then if I were to put this on Well, it brings me back to Spain. If I put this on, you can, I don't know if you can see this. It's not on my shoulder. That's super important. And if you look in this picture on the screen, that's the Arc'teryx bag that I used, which is this one, right? No, it was the black and red. Sorry. So this bag, this Arc'teryx one that doesn't quite fit me right, that bag I used on the New Moon hike in August of last year because it held more, and because I was guiding that hike, I was carrying supplies not just for me but for the whole group. So I had that pack stuffed with other stuff, and it actually was too heavy for me. And I got about 1.5 miles or 2 miles into the hike and had to offload onto other people. So that's the other piece to really think about, is how much your pack can carry isn't always exactly what your body can carry, right? So I had to offload because I'm 110 pounds, 115 pounds. I'm 5 feet tall, small stature. And I had easily like 80 pounds in there, maybe 60 pounds. I don't know, somewhere around there. It was too much for the steepness of the hike, and it was too much for going that far. And that pack doesn't quite fit right. So it wasn't really helping. When you go and get a good pack, going to an outfitter, going to an outdoor store can be really helpful, or going with a friend who already knows some of this is super helpful, because you want it to fit. And I don't know if you can see like my hip. This bag feels so good. It's not sitting on my hip at all. It's like it's not touching my hip. It's holding against my waist, and it's pushing to where the pack sits off. So I can add 30, 40 pounds to this pack, and I can carry it really comfortably. So that's a really important thought around packs, is the size matters, fit matters, and how much you can actually carry matters. Okay. Please go ahead and put anything in the chat, like if any questions or comments or contributions. Go ahead and put that in the chat so that we can still converse back and forth here. If you have any expertise or opinion or thought or experience that you also want to share, or questions, okay? Okay. So I'm going to show you there. So you don't have to read this. I'm going to give you some of these resources from today. And these are resources I always give in our outdoor adventures that we do with Roam Your Soul. So you will always get the Leave No Trace 7 principles. You will always get a packing list, and you will always get a know before you go. And the know before you go, let me open this up because I want to show you what a know before you go looks like filled out. And I'm going to give you a template, right? So if you go on a trip with me, you don't have to fill out the know before you go. You don't have to know everything about your trip, because you're coming on a trip with me and you're hoping to learn some of that from me, right? So I create this know before you, yep, it opened. Okay, so I create this know before you go, and your packing list, and let me show you if it'll let me. Yeah, I gotta switch because I'm gonna go to a tab. So I'm gonna show my whole screen so that it's easier. Yeah, that's fine. Because I'm gonna flip between some of these for you, okay? So to avoid, okay, that's fine. All right, so can you guys see what? No, yeah, no? Oh man, it's freaking out. Isn't it? This is so weird, you guys. I've been having weird technology issues all day. This is no different. I'm just going to share a tab because it seems to be happier that way. Okay, so here is the know before you go template, okay? So there we go. So this is a template. And what I do, and what you always have to do when you're going out hiking somewhere new that you've never been before is you got to do your research and you've got to do your due diligence. You need to prepare based on that research and due diligence. You need to create a schedule and an agenda, because you're also going to make sure that you tell somebody where you're going, what your plan is, so that there's a safety protocol, right? But that schedule and agenda is also going to help you map out your time. So if you know that you have to start at 6 a.m. because you have to hit the summit by 1 p.m. to be able to get back to your car by 4 p.m., those are things that you need to really map out and plan out and really figure out as you're planning and preparing. So that's kind of the know before you go concept. Also, the know before you go should include maps and navigation tools that you need. Those should be downloaded or printed out. You should not depend on your phone when you go to new places, right? You should also make sure that you have an emergency contact that knows all these things, knows where you're going, where you're parking, how long you're supposed to be out, what your estimated time of return is. That piece is really important. Safety best practices. So if you're going to, like we have a large group going to Big Bend in April together, right? And so for me, I'm looking at what trails are we going on, how long are we going to take, and what are some safety best practices I need to put in place to make sure that we do this really safely, and if there's anything that goes wrong, we're prepared. So that can include medical kit, knowing that somebody has a first responder certification, maybe you know who's a nurse in the group, or you know that there's a scramble 1.5 miles in. So let's make sure that we're tracking our distance so that we know that when we get to the scramble, we have to be super careful. Those are the safety best practices that we think about when we put these know before you go documents together. And then down here, and actually I think I put this on this one too. I did. Okay, so I'm going to flip actually over to the other one. So this is the know before you go. You're going to get a template that you can play with for yourself from today. So this template is a way for you to make sure that you're like doing all the due diligence, doing the research, making the preparedness plan, and heading out. Okay. So you're going to get a template for that. And then also you're going to get a template for the 10 essentials list. So when you're looking at this list, the 10 essentials are marked with a little star. But this is a good list that I really provide. Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger. There we go. So this is a list. It almost fits. That I like to provide for any hike that we do, whether it's a day hike, a couple hours. These are the things that you should always consider bringing in your pack. So I had mentioned that sometimes I just go out and do the river trail with my dogs. I'm so familiar with the trail. I take them out there at least a couple of times a week, but I always have these items available. It's a safety protocol. So, these are the things that you need, because sometimes the weather changes, right? Like I have a storm coming in today. Sometimes you could get hurt and you have to stay out longer than you intended. Sometimes you might have gotten a little turned around, or you didn't realize the trail was longer than you thought it was. So just knowing the essentials to pack is incredibly critical. Okay. And so I'm going to show you, you're going to get a copy of this. And so you don't have to memorize it. You don't have to write it down. I'm going to give you a copy of all this. Okay. And then we have the 7 principles. And then I also like to give these helpful tips and important pieces of information. One is about drinking water. So my husband drinks about half as much water as I do in physical experiences. I'm not sure why, but we're just different. And so the rule of thumb is that you should be drinking about a half a liter of water per each hour of hiking. So typically when I'm hiking for more than an hour, so like if I'm hiking for an hour, this bottle is usually pretty good for just an hour. right? Maybe a little over an hour. I could stretch it to 2 hours, but I've gone mountain biking and hiking for 2-3 hours and thought, oh, I'm only going to go for like an hour. I'll just bring a bottle. And I have thirsty, out of water, on 2 to 3 hours of strenuous work, right? So I know this is not enough for me for more than 1 hour, right? Especially if I'm trying to stay hydrated and actually strenuously working out, right? When I go hiking for more than a couple hours, I like to bring, this is kind of my go-to because it's another thing I'm going to show you, but you'll get this in a minute. I always have carabiners on hand, right? I always have carabiners on hand for a multitude of reasons, but one is I like to be able to hook my water bottle to my front or like to the side, and then I don't like when you're hiking, if you leave your hands low, they'll start tingling as you get older, maybe, but they'll start tingling, or your circulation's not as good. So when you're hiking, you really want your hands up here. But if you're going for a long time or going for more than a couple hours, your arms want to relax. And so what I tend to do is hold on to something on my pack, right? And then this is hanging, and I'm able to just kind of hold it. This is a me thing. You might love it, you might hate it, but I always have a carabiner to just hook this, and I can hook it to the back if I'm sick of it hitting me, but I always carry this one as a backup, or I'm sorry, primary, and then I'll carry one this size as a backup in my pack, or depending on how long I go, excuse me, I have the hydration pack, right, that goes in my pack, right? So I'd fill this up, and fill this up for a full day. If I'm just gonna go for a middle-sized hike, maybe I'll just do this guy with this guy as a backup. I say backup because for me, I have found when you get really into hiking, you never really know. And so having only this never feels quite right on more than a couple hours for me. If it punctures, if I miscalculate how much water I put in it, if I need to rinse something, right, I have this little guy as well. Or if I have the dogs with me, it's much easier to give them water out of this bottle than out of this, right? Is there any questions on any of that so far? Or thoughts, contributions, ideas? Helpful tips is an important info. I'm not going to go through all of this, but it talks about shoes, food and snacks. Am I showing this one? Yeah. Going to the bathroom, I am going to stop on. It's something that we don't really like to talk about, but we have to talk about when we're in the wilderness, because leave no trace is a real deal. And that means your bodily functions cannot be left either. So the rule of thumb is that if you're on trail and you have to go pee, you can go 200 feet off trail. You want to be downstream, right? Like you want to make sure you're not getting in the way of water sources, campsites. So you're going to go off and make sure it trickles away from anywhere, and you're going to keep your TP with you. And so you gotta bring some toilet paper, or bring wipes, right? Whatever your preference is. And you got to make sure that you take it with you. So I always like to say too, that means that you should also bring some Ziploc bags, right? Because otherwise you're going to have pee-ridden stuff on your stuff. You should also always carry a human waste bag. I know it doesn't sound easy to manage in the woods, but if you have an emergency, you are not to go to the number 2 in the woods and leave it. Unless you have, you know what I do have? I found this in the back room. We have a shit shovel. for backcountry hiking. This basically gets hooked on the back of one of our packs, and you have to dig a hole to put your poo in, or bring the human waste bag. So if you don't want to carry a shovel, then you got to bring a human waste bag. You are not to leave your poop in the wilderness. Okay. All right, so this here is actually what is on this table back here. I thought it was easier to kind of show you, and I can go grab anything if I need to. But if I'm going, like if I'm packing for Big Bend and I'm going to go on day hikes with my lady friends, this is essentially the stuff I would bring in my pack. So breaking it down, you need to have layers. I have, like I said, I have a baby sack, right? Like the red one's the one I like. And I'll show you why I like it. This red one is the one I like because it's a little bit light, and this part folds really easily. So this is the one I like. So I always bring one of these because it's a wet dry sack. So if there's anything, and maybe I'll put my clothes in here, and then if I need to like layer up or layer down, they can just go back in, right? But these are super handy for organizing. The other thing I have is, if you look down here in the bottom right, this is my medical kit. I know I don't have the word medical kit on the front, but this is my medical kit. It has everything I need for backcountry hiking, for any preparedness or any injury I might have. Little things in here. If I get cactus in me, I have some tweezers to pull those babies out. So we could do a whole nother workshop on what to bring in your medical kit. But this one's mine. You should always have your own medical kit with you. And it can contain just some basics in there, but you should always, always have one with you. If you're on my Big Bend trip, and you are part of you signed up to do the workshops with me, you get a medical kit with your registration. So you'll get a little medical kit that you'll get to put in your pack that we provide for you. That's how important medical kits are. Other thing in here, if you wear contacts like I do, bring your glasses. If anything happens to your contacts, you're going to need to switch those out. I also bring an extra set of contacts. So if you get something stuck in your eye, you get it, you rub your eye, you splash your face with water, whatever it is, you lose a contact, you're going to need to see. So I bring my glasses, and I bring an extra set of contact lenses. The other thing you can see in here is I have a headlamp. I was going to show this to you. I have a headlamp, but also if you're going to plan to, well, it doesn't matter. You can have a flashlight too or not. I love having a headlamp, but sometimes flashlights help for, like, if you want to have campsite dinner on trail, you know, and you're not, like, if you're staying overnight, it's nice to have a little lamp. And this one, I don't know who makes this, but I got it from Airstream. Some of you are Airstreamers. I got it from Airstream, and it's super cool because it has like a, no, now it's not working. So this is my fault. Oh no, that's open close. Oh no, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, I can't remember. Oh, here it is. Ta-da! So that's one. I can have it as a flashlight. Like, the bottom is a flashlight, but I can click it again, and now I have a lantern. It's super cool. I really love it. This is a new toy I got. So this is going to go with me to Big Bend, and it's going to go with me. I'm doing Havasupai Falls in September. This will go with me because this is perfect for, like, a little campsite. Okay. You know, I know we're going to Big Bend in April, and it's going to be warm. I also know in Havasupai I'm going in September. It's going to be warm. I know right now it is dumping snow. It's super cold. I have a light pair of gloves in here, and I know it might seem unnecessary for hot weather, but I'm going to argue that if you get stuck overnight, if you get to a place where you have to carry logs or like rocks or move things, like, having a pair of gloves even if it's a light, thin, like I have a light, thin pair of gloves, right? Or even if it's like gardening gloves, working gloves, or mountain biking gloves are great for this too. I cannot tell you how many times I have ended up using gloves when I didn't think I would need to use gloves, right? So keep that in mind, that having a pair of gloves protects your hands from a multitude of things if you need to be protected from a multitude of things, and they don't take up a lot of space. The other one thing I wanted to make sure to show you guys today is I do have a Garmin InReach, and these babies are awesome. So they're not like cell phones, but if you're in the wilderness and you don't have cell phone service and you need to reach out to your emergency contacts, you can do so with one of these via satellite. And it takes about, depending on where you're at, it takes 3 to 6 minutes to get the message into your emergency contact. And sometimes it can be the difference between life and death. So on all of our trips, we always have a Garmin InReach, and there's always a point person in the guide team that is in charge of the InReach. If you're going to go out solo, I highly recommend getting one of these. It's just a safety measure that technology allows us all to access. This was on sale actually. I can't remember if it was REI. I want to say I just came across it on sale the other day for like $200, and it's worth it. Okay, there's a bunch of other stuff in here, like, you know, make sure that you bring sunblock that you like, carabiners, a knife. If you have a Leatherman, I love using a Leatherman. My Leatherman's not in this picture because it's in my truck. I always have a Leatherman handy. Different kinds of hats, right? So I have a baseball cap for sunshine, and then I have a beanie in case I get cold. And then I have snacks. So I always try to carry about 2 days worth of food, no matter what hike I'm on. Because if I get stuck overnight for one reason or another, I need to be able to have sustenance and take care of myself. Same with the layers. You might be 80 degrees outside when you start your hike, and it might feel really hot. But if you end up having to stay overnight, especially in high desert, nighttime can drop significantly, 30 to 40 degrees. So just always have layers. And these layers here, I have base layer top, base layer bottom, and then I have a Patagonia sweater is this one on the top here that goes over it. And then on top of that, out here in Colorado, whether it's middle of the summer or middle of the winter, I carry these all the time. So I always have these handy. And then I have a puffy, right? This is a down puffy. And then I have a shell. You sometimes think, oh, the puffy is warm, I'll just bring the puffy. The shell helps for rain, but it also helps for wind and cold. Wind and cold will cut through the down jacket. This will help a ton. So I always have both, and I always have the layers. Okay. I don't know where we are because I lost track of being able to hear all of you guys. So we're just gonna, this was from a different, a woman posted this in a group I'm in, and I can't remember who she was, I'm sorry, but she did a great job. I think it was Havasupai Falls actually. So I'm in this Havasu, so even me who's very experienced and has done all these things, I'm always looking for ways to think about new places I've never been, right? So I've never been to Havasupai Falls. It's a 10-mile hike into a self-contained camping area, and then you are self-sufficient for 3 days before you hike back out. So I'm very curious what other people are bringing. And so there's a woman in that group that she posted, this is what she was bringing. So again, you know, this is just another example of what's important. You see, she has a different version of a Garmin InReach, and she's going to have a suit. So she brought some playing cards, right? So that she can play cards at night, money to buy some of the fry bread that they make down there. So this was just another example of how to pack, okay? I'm gonna skip that. I think we're a smaller group today. So I just want to go here, and I know the sound is weird, so it's an odd end to the discussion. It's more of a talk, I suppose. But what is the big aha that you're gonna take away and go do a little bit more thinking on, or a little bit more, research on? What is some feedback that you can give me on what I covered versus what you were hoping to have covered? And what's your adventure that you're planning to go on? I'd love to know. I know some of you are coming on some of my trips, but like you, I also have other trips planned too. So I'm just really curious. Where are you going? How are you preparing? Don't be a stranger. Let me know. Let me know what you're planning and what your big ahas are. What are you trying to learn, and any feedback that you have for today as well. I'm starting to offer this in all my free virtual events. If you really loved what I threw down today, you love the expertise that I provide, or you love some of the guidance that I give, I'm offering free 30-minute strategy sessions to anybody that comes to a free virtual event. One, so you can get to know me a little bit better and see what it is that I am building and learn more about the community that we are creating together. And two is, if you really love it, then maybe we can work together. I think I'm really close on time. Yeah, we have about 7 minutes. Is there anything I didn't cover that you really, really want covered? This is like discussion time that we were supposed to do breakouts, but it's gotten all wonky in here, you guys. Thank you. The order of placement and pack, great suggestion. I actually have a little diagram I'll put in your guys's follow-up email with all of the resources. There's a great diagram, but if you Google it, there is a science. And one thing I didn't cover was packing for overnight, and packing like with your tent, your sleeping bag, your pad, all of that stuff. Obviously, that's what you use these big guys for, right? Is that all that would fit in here? I can definitely go over that and another one, but I didn't really go over beyond the safety and beyond the safety essentials and the preparedness essentials, right? But there is a system, and if you look for what kind of hiking you're doing, that system will be a little bit different, but the science of it is the same. So I'll provide you with the diagram of that. Thanks for that. Cool. Thanks for showing up today, you guys. I really appreciate it.